Good news if you're planning on running the comrades and actually have potential to win it, like Gerda Steyn, who is still joining us. The prize money has increased quite significantly. But before we talk about the prize money, let me remind you who we joined in studio. We're still with the Team Cedar 4 ways, Bongile, Binase, as well as Connie, Mkhize in studio with us. And via Zoom, we have Gerda Steyn, who's joining us from France, I believe. But before we get to the prize money, let's talk what I was talking about, Sis Connie, the aspect of mental health. Why do you believe that has contributed to the growth of the sport?
So, mental health is a challenge for a lot of people across the world. And, you know, to actually participate in a sport that assists you in dealing with those challenges while you're having fun and meeting new people is possibly the most amazing thing you can ever be part of. So we've had a lot of people joining Team Cedar, and you know, they share their stories and how running has really, and verbatim they say, has saved their lives. And that is just the beauty of the sport.
Yeah. Gerda, obviously as an elite athlete, I'm sure there's a lot of challenges that you have faced as well personally, and also the athletes that are around you. But let's talk about that. Why, how running, have you observed, helps with a lot of people dealing with mental health issues?
I 100% agree with Connie. Running, the benefits of running to your mental health is enormous. And I feel like us as runners, it's almost a privilege to have a hobby that is also good for mental health. It almost it's a natural way of keeping your mental health strong and to face challenges. And running itself, I mean, it's a hard sport. They always say that there's no hiding place in running. It's not a team sport, although we have clubs and teams. When you line up on a race, it's just really you and the road ahead of you. So that also teaches us so many lessons that we can apply to our daily lives, pushing through our own limits and really testing ourselves. There's just so many aspects of running that I can think of that I can apply to my life with outside of running, and even more so for social runners, because they often have to train really early in the morning, then go to work, face the challenges and stress at work, go home, think about tomorrow's run again. So I just think that we are privileged to have a sport that is so good for our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Comrades Marathon announced that this year's prize money has increased to 4.3 million, which I'm sure a lot of South Africans are looking at you to possibly winning that. But why is this such a welcome news for you and your fellow elites?
Of course, the news of the prize money increase have been well received. Myself, as a professional athlete, this is my way of income. I rely on prize money as well as sponsorships for a salary, for a living. And so the news of the prize money increasing with such a significant amount is really, it's amazing. It's heartwarming to see that. I know that Comrades invests a lot in the front of the race as well as the back of the race. And to see this prize increase really is so motivating for me as an athlete. We've seen in the past few years all around the world, prize money have decreased. The pandemic has played a huge impact on events, especially mass events, and therefore we've seen it in the impact of it in the prize money for the front end of the race. But to see the race coming back now to the old standards or pre-pandemic standards in the prize money, I can't be more excited. And it just shows that the future of Comrades is bright, and the Comrades. The spirit of the Comrades, the legend of the Comrades, and the future of the Comrades is looking up. And I am just as excited for this as I've ever been. So I really, really can't wait for the 11th of June.
I know you're training in Europe right now, but Gerda, have you officially moved to the host province, which is KZN?
I would love to move to the KZN, but not yet, no. My residence is still in Gauteng. So, but you never know, maybe one day when I'm not so focused on being at high altitude, I'll pack my bags and move to Natal.
All right. She talks about the importance of that prize money for the elites, Bongile. But you have a lot of runners who obviously don't get that amount of money, but the sport can be quite pricey. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the financial constraints that you have witnessed with your members?
Well, that's very right. That's very true. Like most sports, it can be quite costly. Challenges like, for example, when we'll be going down to Durban for the Comrades Marathon in about over a month's time. So there's traveling costs. There's traveling costs, there's accommodation that one needs to prepare for themselves. Even just the equipment that one uses, from your shoes. Running shoes nowadays can be quite pricey. We also use gadgets like smartwatches, GPS watches, which can also be quite pricey. So those are general challenges that an average runner would have when it comes to participating in the sport. But I mean, that's also, again, one of the benefits we have of having such a community of runners, is that when we can, and one of us is in a position where they are challenged, we can then come together and rally around and get people to assist one of our fellow club members or fellow crew members. So then those are just one of the other benefits as well when it comes to running communities like Team Cedar.
Yeah, do you get sponsors? Do you ask for sponsorships from the community? Apart from just getting money from your members, from fellow runners, do you go out and ask for sponsors?
Not at this point. We are really just focused on establishing the crew and making sure that we are safe. I think that is the basis of the crew right now. But I think there is an opportunity for sponsorship, especially for athletes that have been identified within the group as with great potential, but need support in making sure that they have the basic tools in order for them to function.
You're both running the Comrades?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
why? Why? I know why Gerda does it, but why?
I guess we're suckers for pain. But also it's a life-changing experience. One of the famous Comrades runners, Kabelo Mabalani, once is famous for, there's a quote of his where he says, every South African, he believes, should run Comrades at least once.
Oh, thanks.
So it's really a life-changing experience. I mean, last year we both ran our first ones, so we'll be going back for our second one. And what an experience, what a completely life-changing experience, and we'd like to do that again. It's obviously a challenging race. It's literally the ultimate human race, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it at the end of the day.
I mean, I guess I'm ignorant because a friend of mine yesterday ran 70 Ks, and my first thing I asked him is, when do you eat? 7 hours on the road. I am like, for you, why do you do this?
Look, I think as a runner in South Africa, your ambition is just to run the Comrades at least once. But once you do start running it, you realize who you really are. It shows you parts of yourself, strengths within yourself that you didn't know existed. So it's really a life-changing experience. I would recommend it for anybody.
I mean, I can imagine your first one being tough. Did you guys medal? Because some people I know, they don't even make it the cutoff. They have to be carried over.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so I take it, since you're going back, you've had a successful first time.
Yes.
Yes, it was successful. So when you go for the second one, there's a special medal that you get. It's called a back-to-back medal. It means you've done your first and you immediately did your second the year after that. And really, I attribute my success in that run to the Team Cedar crew, because I honestly wouldn't have done it without them. I suffered bad injuries, but the crew was always there to just encourage me and make sure that I actually position myself at that start line. Because once you're at the start line, everything else is just history. Yeah.
Sure. Gerda, they're obviously social runners, but back-to-back Comrades, that is quite an achievement. That is not something I'm going to do in my lifetime. I'm going to put it out there right there. But for you, how did you go from, oh, I'm just going to do this around friends, to I can win this, and multiple of times?
When I think about it now, when I think back about the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, it almost feels to be like it didn't happen. I can't believe it. I started literally, I got sucked into running. I got convinced to sign up for the Comrades Marathon on a late entry, and I ran it as far at the back of the pack. I think I finished in 57th position in my first Comrades, and I knew the moment I finished that race, okay, of course it was tough, and of course I was very tired, but I knew that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. I never want to not run again. I want to come back here, and I want to try harder, and I want to be stronger when I line up for my next Comrades. And as I started training more specific and focusing harder and thinking about everything around running, maybe a little bit of adjustment around my diet, a little bit more strength work in the gym, things started to just improve for me. I managed to get my marathon time down, and I had to sort of make a decision when it became a reality that actually I can compete for the win in the Comrades Marathon. So I had to make a big decision to leave my office job at the time and dedicate my entire days, weeks, year into running. And that is how everything started to change. It was a big move. It was an uncertainty that I had to take, but I don't look back for a day. And I'm just so grateful and feeling so just blessed and grateful for taking that opportunity and taking that risk and to be able to live this life of an athlete now.
Yeah, it could be life-changing for someone else. So if somebody's watching at home and they're like me, they're like, this is never going to happen, how do you change their mind? You're not going to change my mind, but you may change someone else's.
Well, I'd firstly encourage them to find a nearby running group, club, running community.
I've seen you guys around.
Right, so start there. We all started with a jog around the block, a 3K run, and then it grows to 5, and then you maybe run a park run, and then it becomes a 10K run, and eventually you start running half marathons to marathons, eventually ultras. So we all start somewhere. And I know a lot of people that got into the sport by maybe supporting a family member, a friend, a loved one, and when they saw the atmosphere or they experienced the atmosphere, what happens at races, what happens at Comrades, they're like, I also want to be on the starting line next time. And today they're runners. And so I would encourage people to just start where you can.
Yo, and today they are like someone like Gerda saying who's winning millions just from putting a pair of techies on. True. I mean, well, thank you guys so much for your time. So you are going to run your second marathon. What are you hoping is your time? How do you hope to improve your time, if at all?
So I really hope just to better my best. What I did last year, to improve from that, I would be delighted.
All right, that is Connie, Mkhize, and Bongile Binase from the Cedar Four Ways running crew. They're not an official club, but they're running crew. So if you're around that area and you're interested in joining running, maybe do look them up online, as well as Gerda Steyn joining us, training for her for the Comrades Marathon down in Durban later on this year. Oh, well, she's away. She's on a board. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports Live.